right, boys and girls, we're up. We're up. Is it time? Is it time? Son of a, what's up, Evan in the house? Yeah, man, I know copyright 2020. Sorry, dude. I'm old. I'm old. It's been around for a while, dude. I know. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy long weekend. Hope everybody had a good long weekend. Are you freaking out about the market? Probably not. I'm not. We got a lot of stuff. Finally, a full weekend. I'm looking at the market. I'm like, yeah, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. Wolf filed for bankruptcy. Stock's up 120%. Yeah. What have we been doing here? Trade, fair enough. Good morning. Favorite analyst? Yeah, for sure. Yan in the house. I am old G, dude. I am old G. Anybody from the server, by the way, dude, we had like the most epic, like 4 and almost 5 hour stream late night last night. It was crazy, dude. Sea of red over here, nothing burger. Dude. Yeah, it was degen mode for sure. I don't know, like the market's taking turns. Look, some things can take a rest. I think, for me, let me just share this. So I'm like, well, what do we do for the thumbnail today? Are we overheated? Did we go too far? Have we gone too fast? It's all good. I apologize for those. That you? I don't. I have to go back to the team because they put it together. I was like, I don't actually want to know who did the questions, but I actually loved that last question last night. That was a really good one. But some things are ready for a rest. Some things are ready for a run, and I think it's okay. Things can take turns, right? Things can really take turns, and our job as traders is to find out, where is the money going? Follow the money. I think overall, it's good to see certain pockets of the market taking turns. If we weren't seeing certain areas of the market popping off at different times, that would be bearish. And we're not seeing that. So this is my little angry bear guy here. Because, I think the bears are still hiding out. But for right now, I don't know. Still seems some angry bears out there. Good God, how about that SOFI too? That thing just keeps running. And the fintech names, we got Affirm and Upstart going like crazy today. Maybe it's their time. We have a little catch-up trade happening. Some of the stocks that were taking a rest last week are starting to wake up again this week. Some of the stocks that were on heaters last week, Apple, maybe Google, take a little bit of a break this week. That's okay. Totally okay. Schizo on DD mode. It was great. Yeah. Oh, man. No, I let you know if you're in the server. Yeah, we went. It was like this crazy planning. Not crazy, but it was a big planning session for sure. And I'm not even done, honestly. There's a lot more planning to go. But, I've been on this kind of like $1 million month type mission. And I'm like, I don't know if we've gone too far too fast, but we have a lot of stuff coming up in this next week or two. And the setup, quite frankly, the setup is there for like $1 million week. It's got all the makings of it, but does it come to fruition? That I don't know. What about Lyft? Yeah, I mean Lyft is absolutely there. Jason has a chat, Patrick. Dude, is Patrick even in the Discord? I don't even know if Patrick's in the Discord or not. I don't even know if Patrick's in the Discord or not. Good God. Get your ass in there. It's like free. Anyways, there's a free channel. You can come play. I'm watching SPY. So if you have our NFP indicator right now, this is the NFP level. This looks like headlines. We're kind of cracking this NFP level at the moment. So that's going to be a little violent. Maybe it is a little overheated. I can't believe this guy doesn't know that I have a chat. But we'll see. We opened above. Can we close below? Can we close above? TBD. It's Monday. You guys know I don't really trade Mondays. This is definitely headline. Where's Evan? There we go. Breaking Trump. I will impose 25% tariff on Japan. It's a Trump market, man. It is a Trump market. That's what will get you. So we will see. We shall see. That's the level, though, that I wanted to see it back above. If we don't, maybe put profit comes back to life. It's a little early, though. July 9th, we have tariff deadlines, too. So he's got to get a little hot and heavy. Let me get back to my slides here. So anyways, that's where we are. Let it breathe. Not going to freak out. There's this thing, taco. I don't know. We'll see. But if you're new to the channel, what we do here every Monday is kind of like take a look at what's going on in the market. What kind of headlines do we have to look forward to or maybe cringe at? What happened last week? We'll do a little catalyst watch as well. If you guys have tickers, wait for a little bit before we get there. We'll have a chance to look at them later on, and we'll take a look at those as well. Recap last week. There's a lot of data. It was a short week last week. There's a lot of data, though. We had FOMs or non-farm payrolls. We have a big pivot day midweek this week. Tariff deadline pushed to August per percent. We still have a big pivot day midweek this week. So last week, some of the recaps. So from the non-farm payrolls and FOMC, was it FOMC? Anyways, Powell isn't taking a July rate cut off the table. So that's still available. Fed would have cut if not for the potential effect of tariffs, which is what we're dealing with at the moment. We got ADP employment report. That change came in. The forecast was for 90,000 jobs. It actually came in down 33,000. And so when you look at the employment reports, technically you would think from a rate cut perspective, and now it becomes how close are we to getting a rate cut moving forward? And really, like, the weaker the job reports are, the closer we become to getting a rate cut, because Powell's always been like, well, it's all about the labor. It's all about the labor reports. So ADP came in and it was actually down 33,000 versus a 90,000. So in parentheses, that's the forecast. It came in actual down 33,000 versus 90,000 forecast versus 29,000 prior. So that was good for possibly having a rate cut in the future. So we're a little bit closer to the rate cuts. And then non-farm payroll number actually came out on Thursday. Forecast was for 110,000 jobs to come out. We actually got 147,000. So that's a little confusing versus 144,000 prior. So it's a good number, but then you're like, well, if the labor market's actually really good, then why would we really cut rates? That's the real question. And then you kind of dig into that numbers, like, where did it come from? So private payrolls forecast was for 100,000. We came in at 74,000 versus 140,000 prior. So the private payrolls not doing a whole lot more. Manufacturing payrolls forecast for 15 came in negative 7,000 versus negative 8 prior. This is where it was. How it came in at government payrolls being 73,000 versus negative 1 prior, I don't really know, especially with Doge and all that. I guess clearly this is coming in at the state and local level, but that's where it was. But that's where all this extra, an extra 73,000 jobs came from government. So whatever's happening here, that's not typical. This is not gonna help from a GDP perspective, but that's where the jobs came from, whatever that is. Unemployment rate forecasted at 4.2 comes in at 4.1 versus 4.2 prior. And then we did have this July 9th tariff deadline, which apparently is being pushed to August. And now the trade is he will taco once again, possibly. We will see. But this deadline keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed. So Powell handling Trump ballsy, yeah. But yeah, this is the knee-jerk kind of moment, right? So I think these moments, honestly, the fact that we're not, this looks like a blip in the radar. I'm just looking at this market right now. It's like, are we already getting bought up? This kind of looks like we're already getting bought up, guys. Yeah, so like, this is what I'm talking about. This market, she don't care. So far, I don't know. It's just not really making a lot of big moves. Every little trade deal headline, if there's a headline of a trade deal that comes, the bears keep trying to step in, and the bears keep trying to push this market down. But if there's a trade deal that comes in, every time this kind of stuff happens, something good happens right behind it. More and more people are getting caught off sides. And this is the current dynamic where it's like, you're scared, they panic sell, and then good news shows up and they FOMO back in. This is the dynamic that's creating the volatility that an option trader can take advantage of. But if you get scared out of a trade, it's like, you're going to have to FOMO right back in. Stop it. Okay, buying more CRM. But this is the dynamic that it's very choppy, no question. But man, I understand that this is possibly the setup that, yeah, it might even be 2 days, 3 days, who knows? But poof, one headline, somebody's caught off sides. Carl. You never know. You never know. Seasonality. So this is why I was like, okay, it's possible. So this to me has been like a possible 4 to 6 week market kind of blitz that created this opportunity to possibly make kind of like $1 million month. We are now, in my mind, in week 4 of a potential 4 to 6 week squeeze setup, which means that we are really honestly closer to the end. And this last 2 week moment, if it's not official, if it shows up, could be like the most violent phase of that series. So it's still on the table, guys. I'm just saying it's still on the table. I'm not counting this out. Today, by the way, is the first trading day after the 4th of July. If you didn't know, and I haven't even checked the volume today, which I probably should, it's usually one of the lowest volume days of the year, and so it's not something I really, so average 30-day, okay, so average 30-day volume, 72 million. So far, we're at 27.8. It's actually not horrible halfway through the day. Better than I would have thought, to be fair. Better than I would have thought. They're trying. They're really trying. Tick's almost going positive. Oh. These internals are actually trying to. Wild. Just saying. Never know. Never know. Oh no. Did I just lose it? I think I lost it. Shoot. That's okay. I lost it. So I'll do it this way. So this week, what we have, you know what I'll do? I am just gonna go straight over to Lux really quick, and they do a pretty good kind of recap. Actually, if Evan's here, you know what, Evan? Is Evan still here? If Evan's still here, next week, maybe Evan will come and do his recap with us, because Evan also does a pretty good Catalyst watch. I would love for Evan to come. I'll text him later. But Lux right now, they do a pretty good recap as well. So we've gone from bear market to bull market in record time. Very true story. I had a fear and greed index set up over here, and we are currently, what is this, 76 on the greed scale? 76 on the greed scale. That's pretty heavy. Can the trade deals coming through live up to the hype? So here's the schedule. Monday, Chicago Board Employment Trends Index, 6-month Treasury auction, not going to be a big thing. Weekly open futures, all Tuesday. So tomorrow, Prime Day begins. Some of you guys may have been in for this Prime Day trade. Once a year, there used to be like an annual Prime Day trade available. But what I will say is that the last 2 years, the Prime Day trade hasn't really played out. The market cap on Amazon has been pretty, it's grown quite a bit. Plus, Amazon hasn't really been the most profitable from their e-commerce perspective. So it hasn't really moved the stock price that much in the last couple of years. We'll see. It looked okay this morning, but it's kind of fading out a little bit. When they release the actual numbers, or the anticipation of the number release, that's when it starts to get a little hot and heavy. Now, it's not even Prime Day, it's like Prime Week, so it might even be a little bit more delayed. Australia interest rate, I don't know. New York Fed inflation expectations comes out Tuesday. Short-term outlook, crude oil. 3-year Treasury, not going to be a big thing. Consumer credit balances, China CPI and PPI coming in. So last Prime sucked. This is facts, right? So for sure, people play it. Sometimes it's buy the rumor, sell the news. Just telling you guys, the Prime Day trade has not been the easy type of trade. It's not like the Apple seasonal trade. That one I've never seen fail. The Prime Day trade fails more than not. Wednesday we have a pivot day. So Wednesday's July 9th. It was the tariff deadline. Apparently now that's changing. But for other reasons, we have two things happening on Wednesday. So number one, we have a 10-year auction. So remember, this market is still very much about the rates and how close we are to the next rate cut. 10 and the long-term bonds specifically. We still have to deal with this 2 and 10-year yield curve. 10-year Treasury, that is going to make a difference in the market. If you're not paying attention to the dollar index or the DXY, that thing has that is the biggest kind of warning sign in the market right now, and that's the dollar index, the DXY. It's the only thing that's kind of like flashing yellow, is that it's gone pretty far low, and near term, the dollar coming down is fairly bullish for stocks from a very short-term perspective. But if it goes down too far and it stays too far, and if it stays down too long, that's not so good for stocks, because it starts to impact their earnings power over the longer term. And I think we're getting to that point where maybe the market starts to think about that. So that can be kind of like the pause that we may be seeing for a week or so in the market. And then possibly initiates that broadening out across the board as well. So keep an eye on what we would call the RSP, or the equal-weighted SPY. We also get the FOMC meeting minutes. So this is where it might get interesting even more so, because remember, Powell just said, had it not been for the tariffs, they would have probably been cutting. And if this is where the meeting minutes come out and the market gets a hold of that, and in fact, a lot of the Fed presidents were on board with this, the market might grab a hold of those minutes and be like, oh, we're getting a rate cut. And this could initiate that weekly pivot that I'm talking about between the 10-year Treasury auction and the FOMC minutes. Usually, lately, the minutes have not been moving the market, but I'm just saying right now, there's not a lot of news on deck, and the market's going to be grasping for straws at a certain point. The market wants a catalyst, and they're going to look for a catalyst. Here it is. It's these FOMC minutes, regardless of what you think. If that commentary about Powell being open, or the whole committee have been open to, how open were they to having cut rates earlier? And, how probable is it that they cut rates coming next FOMC? Based on what do they need to see from the tariffs? That could be a game changer for the markets. That could be a major pivot. Thursday, we get jobless claims. We get a 30-year Treasury. That's the long bond. This is going to be your TLT. So Thursday, you'll get your TLT action. Fed daily speaks. Then we get some of these. Delta kicks off the airlines. If you're wondering if we've gone too far too fast, here's what I'll say. From the beginning of this Liberation Day, I've been saying that this is COVID level volatility. And quite frankly, I've not been wrong. The level of volatility we've been seeing, from the fear gauge being, I don't know what it was like 4, like extreme fear, whatever it was, in April, 5 to 75, 80, like that's COVID level all the way up in short order. I don't know what the stats are on this, but it is quite literally COVID level recovery and dump. I didn't think we would see it that fast, but sure enough, we have. And it could be this kind of blow off top that's equivalent too. So what I would say is I'm actually not worried about it turning the corner quite yet, because we still have a full earnings season to come. And so that's going to start off at the end of the month, like end of July. A lot of earnings start kicking off then. And you're going to start seeing the airlines start first, or start very quickly here. So airlines will come out. They're going to start showing up. That kicks off with Delta. And then you get the WASI report, and if you're a futures trader, things like that. So that is that for that piece. I'm going to have to go into the server really quick and see if I can pull the weekly trade plan to get our friend here. So give me 1 second. Ooh. Make sure I didn't do this. And then let's just do one thing really quick. Let's go ahead and pull up. What can we do? So we also use Earnings Hub. I'll take a look at Earnings Hub. I got to sign in for earnings up. 100 belly. Let's just go popular. Oh, we have Air. Delta, Levi's. It's VIST. And then next week, so next week we have a lot more. So this week, not much, just Air Systems, Levi's, Delta. Next week we have the banks. So boom, JP Morgan, and we're kicking off earnings season. Holy crap. We're kicking off earnings season right away. Oh man. That means I got another training to do. Huh. Here I am, thought I was going to have a break. I have an earnings training to do. So JP Morgan next week, BlackRock, Citi, Wells Fargo. Oh, geez. And we're in the thick of it. Netflix. This is next week, guys. How quickly things sneak up on us. Oh, and then boom, Tesla. This is getting really interesting on Tesla, by the way. I mean, really interesting on Tesla. 2 weeks till Google. So, yep, we're seeing it. Is Google still a buy for July? I think so. Yeah, so like we had basically pre-earnings run up initially, and then you could take a little bit of a breather, but then you're going to get another press. You got, yeah, because you got earnings coming in 2 weeks. Do you think they're going to let Google be way down here right before earnings? I don't. I really don't. And also, by the way, I don't know. We're going to have to look at this Tessie. It's in the dumper. So if you guys aren't doing the thing yet, I don't know. I'm going to have to take a serious look at this Tesla. I mean, are they really going to let it be way down here before earnings like this? What I'll say is that it's a gap down and it has failed to go lower so far. It has, in fact, failed to continue lower so far. To watch, I got no trigger. But if they were going to push it lower, if you were really going to throw it away, you would have thrown it away, right? Maybe they throw it away still, I don't know. But anyways, earnings season is coming. And I don't know that you really throw away the stock market just before the heat of earnings season comes. Yeah, Tesla is worried, but is it like game theory 3.0? Is he playing 4D chess? I don't know. But yeah, the year has gone by so fast, man. So insane. But nothing this week. Don't let that fool you, though, because next week, boom, earnings season has arrived. But so, yeah, it can get a little hot and heavy this week. It's a little poppy. My analogy right now has kind of been, it's like the whack-a-mole market. Whack-a-mole market, the game, the arcade game at do you guys have Chuck E. Cheese's? So we had Chuck E. Cheese's growing up, Chuck E. Cheese's, where it's like, different sectors at different times will pop up and you have the mallet and you have to whack, 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 whack. It's really hard because it's like this sector, that sector, this industry, that industry, boom, 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 boom. And if you're not kind of like spread out a little bit and you're not watching everything, I'll tell you what, there's way too many trades for one person to catch all over the place. And depending on how you're trading things right now, if you're trying to use stop losses, truth be told, at this moment, stop losses don't really work. So it's all about sizing correctly, because one day you're going up, 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 and then boom, money has moved because if you're chasing, money will move over here, and the next day it's like, and you're like, you're down 50%. If you close it, you know, money is going to come right back the next day. It's up 300%. And you went over here and it's like down again. You're like, oh my God. So sizing correctly, taking profit certain times, you could get whacked for sure, B-Tech. You could get whacked. So I think that's the message right now is like size correctly. Don't deploy all your soldiers at once. And just be prepared, right? Because have troops at the ready if you need to. But wait patiently for your triggers. And let's see what happens. Taco Trump. My stop loss gets hit on every trend headline. Yeah. And once you re-trigger, honestly, I'm not afraid to like reallocate. So anyways, this market is hard. It's not easy. Thankfully, we have communities to help. Thankfully, I don't have to do it by myself, and you guys don't have to do it by yourselves, because this would be quite frustrating otherwise. But that said, sometimes technical analysis is not even enough, and sometimes a headline will, ruin my TA. So there's only one other thing that possibly is a little bit stronger than technical analysis, and that is the other T in TA, which we all know stands for tarot. So without further ado, let's welcome our good old friend, Miss Cleo, and see what the cards have in store for us this week, huh? All right, guys, here's the deal. So if you're not familiar with this segment of the show, every week we get a little reading from our friend, Miss Cleo. It's a little blurry on this one, so sorry. But the way this works is we get a tarot reading. The T in TA actually stands for tarot. If you didn't know, that's what the T in TA stands for. And so tarot card reading for the week, we get one card at the top. That's our weekly theme card. And then below that, we get one card for each day of the week. So here we go. So our theme card is blurry, man. Oh God. Our theme card is the King of Cups. I don't even remember this one, but there's a little guy sitting on a throne. He's got two cups. What is it? Looks like a little water underneath with a golden robe. Okay. Yeah, it means nothing to me. I have no idea what to do with that. And then today is the Knight of Pentacles. That's a little coin. Maybe we're going into battle. What is that saying? Son of a bitch. That says death. Well, it does. It says death. I got a little teary-eyed here for a second. Anyways, so Knight of Pentacles for Monday. Tomorrow we drew death. Tomorrow we draw death. Tomorrow we drew death. It is what it is. Sometimes death is good, right? I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't remember. Just turn this on. I don't know. It says death. That's what it says. Maybe she's wrong. Maybe she's not. Maybe death is good. I don't know. Death to who? I don't know. but possibly death. Possibly death. Thanks, Trump. So, anyways, tomorrow's the death card, and I'm getting some signals that it's possibly a little overheated, but it's not going to be super long for sure. So, anyways, tomorrow's the death card. There's some people down here. It's funny that death is coming in on a white horse. Somebody help me. Is this stop it? Okay, sold anything. Buy the dip before 100 more dips. So tomorrow's night. Oh God. You guys crack him. I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. And then we have what is it? This looks like a 4 of, I forgot what this is. 4 of wands. I almost said reeds. 4 of wands, lots of gold. And then this is a 7 of wands. And then Judgment Day. If I had a trumpet sound effect, I would make it. That would sound like really stupid, but you can hear the angels coming down from above. I can almost feel the angels coming down from above. So it seems to me that this is a short time death. And then, but here's the thing. Like, what if, guys, what if it's death and then look at this 4 of wands, and then you die and you're reborn and you're walking through this thing under the golden arches into the new light. This is too scary. Look, I don't know. And then you come and it's like, just saying. It's not always as bad as it sounds. But let's see what she has to say. Let's see what she has to say. It looks like an easy ride to the moon may finally make a pit stop. Okay. The king holds a cup representing the emotions that accompany times of trouble, doing his best to keep the contents still despite the choppy waters beneath him. It symbolizes the need to keep our emotions in check no matter how hard things may get. This means that sell pressure is likely to increase and we may get overtaken by strong tidal waves. Oh, that's why it has water underneath them. Let's see if the daily cards may have more to say. Monday is the Knight of Pentacles. This guy is hardworking, but moves methodically and at a slow pace. Since his bias is bearish, we're a little bit downside. This means there's a high chance of a slow grind lower. That's actually what we're getting. That is unlikely to provide a valid entry. He can trend, but it's usually less than 1%. I would not expect much back and forth. This means momentum works if you buy time or commons, but you won't get a huge payout from VIX or puts. Also, looking accurate. Okay, Tuesday. Miss Cleo is going to make you rich. Yeah. Tuesday, death. She does a crypto reading too. She always references crypto. Crypto drew a card representing the final death. Whoa. And here we are with stocks drawing actual death. It's amazing how the two markets consistently overlap. Okay. Look for continuation in the form of a trend day that sets up mean reversion. Who called it? That sets up mean reversion pivot on Wednesday. Also, big pivot day Wednesday for the week. This is fairly straightforward. I don't hate it, guys. I don't hate it at all. If I wanted a big pivot day, flush her out, don't hate it. Wednesday, 4 of Wands. I call this card the homecoming card. As it often arrives during a test of support that is followed by a decent bounce. I told you guys. Final death. Is that good? I don't know. See? Thatcher's right. Don't get too emotional about death can be a good thing. What's the point of this? Somebody help him out in the chat. It's often a riser and test support. We'll probably see it in the form of a gap down. However, a red Monday and Tuesday means we've done the dirty work and should bounce on Wednesday. Ones are impulsive, so there will be whipsaws. Also, a large gap down could result in a flat day, not a green day. So this is more about buying the dips than getting long. Okay. Thursday, 7 of Wands, we get the 4 to 7, which is a tricky series, but because the 7 of this suit usually starts off with a bang in the form of a large gap up Thursday or down. Oh, great. So that's how she does it. It's usually down and or in the opposite direction of the prior day's close, but rarely closes deep red. From there, we look for a change in energy and a bit of a fade. The best way to describe it is a gap down that gets bought and brought back to flat or near it. If Wednesday is red, then gap. So she doesn't really know, but we're going to start changing Thursday. Then a gap up would be perfect for putting bears on their back heels. Either way, be ready for an action-packed morning Thursday. All right, so the worst of it would be possibly Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever she's saying. And then Friday, judgment. Speaking of overlap, crypto gets this card too. Ideally, we get to watch that Thursday action and hope that it informs Friday's action. As it relates to stocks, the judgment card has a bearish bias, closing less than or equal to 1% from the open mark. Mean reversion is highly likely and with the same energy you brought on Thursday. For example, down 0.5% is highly likely to bring up 0.5%. Look for obvious liquidity gaps to fill and strong energy that is difficult to outwit. Recap, like crypto, there's a pivot on Wednesday that separates us from weakness and strength, chop and trend. The them card, I don't know what the them card is, indicates troubling trade environments, so I'd lighten up this week. I actually agree. And I think spread out. So that said, I'm going to get into the charts really quick. This is my first look across the board. Interestingly, so I mentioned the dollar, and this is the Dixie or dollar index, and I'm not starting out with SPY just yet, but the Dixie is right on that key support level, and this pulling back, this is a daily chart of the Dixie. I'm going to actually move to this is monthly. Actually go weekly. This is weekly. It's not horrible, but coming back down these last few weeks, this is where we are. And we're actually right on that kind of key support level right here. And so this is where I would like to see it bounce. And that's pretty much exactly what we're getting right here. So this short-term momentum to the downside, all of this, is that near-term kind of like myopic view of like this could be bullish near term for stocks, but honestly we don't want to see it down too far for too long anyways, and that if it having a little bit of a bounce here on the dollar is going to alleviate some of that longer term pressure on from an earnings perspective for a lot of the companies anyway. So it's not a horrible thing. It could put a little pause on some of the rally, and that's okay as well. So I'm really not concerned with this at all. Watching gold bounce at the same time, kind of interesting, which you usually don't see at all. So gold has been stuck sideways for quite a while. This is gold futures, by the way. So this guy, possible little watch. This may be short-lived. We'll see. This is massive consolidation, near 90-day consolidation. It's been sideways, but it's still kind of range bound. I could see this up to like 35 on gold futures, but I still don't think it's breakout territory just yet. From this perspective, looks like beautiful. I literally just, so our NFP levels are updated now. Amazing. On Lux. And so this is that 621.20 NFP level here on SPY. Currently, we have an open inside NFP range. This break here was that retest here. Right now, this is a 1 day open inside. We've just broken through. To see it pop back in range, perfectly normal. For me to have a clean signal to breach, what I actually need is I need a full trading day outside. So I wouldn't have a signal to go short until I have like a open below and then close below. And then in that case, I would be looking at 609s. If and only if. And if that happens, okay, cool. That's my failure point at spot at the index level. Until then, I kind of just have to assume that this is still chop. At any point, if SPY reclaims 621.20, at any point, this goes back into range bound territory that would look like this. And I would quickly assume that we get a 5-point move straight back to 626.27 very quickly. All I'm saying here is that we would be range bound. I'm not saying that from an index perspective, we're going to be going higher. Again, just like I'm not ready to call it quits from a downside perspective. I'm not going to call it a bearish setup until I have like a full day's range underneath. I can't say that we're ready to go full blown upside breakout until I have a full day's range completely above. This is Thursday's trading session. So we would have to have either tomorrow full day's range outside below, or at some point later this week, full day's range above outside Thursday session. That's how that's going to work for me. Until then, we could easily open back above on some kind of headline. It's possible that we just continue to flush. And if we do, it's 609.07. That's your downside. That's your downside support. Yes, there's a small little gap down here. I don't believe that that's going to be any kind of key support at all. I don't see why that would hold as major support or any kind of near-term support. Quite frankly, it would be 609.07 in this area. There are a lot of these session gaps, and I mean a lot of them. There's one here. There's one here. These are splattered everywhere. So at some point, sure, if the market goes super bearish, these guys down here, these guys go deep down here. These exist across the board. So no, I'm not trying to go super long dated anything, but I have session gaps down to 565. So for me, this is squeezy territory for a good time, but this was that level that I really didn't want to see break, and I'd like to see it reclaim 621.20. Until then, I kind of need to be on my heels just a little bit in this moment at 621.20. That's the big cautionary moment. 49th like ears on. Here we go. I just sent a tariff letter. What companies report Tuesday and Wednesday? Nobody. I mean, Air Systems and then Delta, I think, is really the only ones. Levi's and Delta. So that's SPY. I think, I will do this from an average week's range perspective. Let's see. Yikes, yeah, so we got a lot. We got a big range. We've been having some massive moves. This is an average week's range from the upside and the downside. Yeah, an average week's range does take us right in between, just about 600 to the downside. Upside would be 649, still available. So we could go either way. That's SPY. And this is right now. I don't hate this either right now. Like this moment, this red line, that's a quarterly level that we're retesting. So yeah, I'm definitely not signing off here. Not gonna happen. That is currently a break and retest here. So for us to stop right here, right now, don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. We've actually seen a lot of these where you just like get stop and then kind of go sideways and then stop and then go right back up. We've actually seen this setup quite a bit across the board from an equity perspective. That was in our part of our action plan last week or last night. Actually, anybody from the server that was in the planning sessions last night had seen this exact setup more times than we can count, where you think like, oh, it's just like gone, even maybe a little bit of a breach, and you sign off, oh, it looks bearish, and then poof, you walked away from a trade only to turn around 2 days later and it's like psh, right back to where you started. Yeah, I would not I would not think that this is over just yet. No. Sorry. QQQ. I got to pull up these NFP levels because this is going to be importante. QQQ has not broken NFP lows. Only SPY. Only SPY. So QQQ is holding NFP. Check that out. So we got a little divergence here. QQQ holding NFP low, 551. Little divergence. Interesting. Weekly range. Wow. That's down to 526 and as high as 580 on the Qs. Again, similar. Break, retest right here. Qs look a little bit stronger though, clearly. Diamonds were the only one green in the morning. We are pretty far from the SMAs, but I'm not too worried about that. Diamonds actually right at February NFP levels, so you're actually on it already. Yeah, we're at supports already. One thing I want to check RSP. So broadening, kind of chilling out a little bit here. Huge thrust on the equal weighted sector. So advanced decline, negative 1700. Sorry, advanced decline here. If I look at market internals, what I'm looking at here, I'm looking at net flows down here from this perspective, starting out kind of weak on the day, continuing to go down. This is on SPY, small little gap. Cumulative tick here has been fairly negative most of the day, just now popping over the zero line. Advanced decliners here, starting out pretty negative, getting a little bit thrust to the downside, but at about negative 1800, that's about as deep as you go. So I think we're mostly hit the negatives for the day. Most of the ticks have been below the zero line, and we're just now towards the back half of the day trying to get over. So I think the worst is over. I don't know. We'll see. Think I can look at MU at some point? I mean, I can. I don't really have a whole lot of interest there. 230 viewers, probably on YouTube. On Twitter, that's where most of our fam is. Okay, go ahead, drop your tickers now. I will. I do want to take a look at a couple of charts personally, and I'll go hit those, but go ahead and do some Tessie. So Tesla, from an intraday perspective, I'll do a couple of things. So she's still squeezing, or she has a squeeze up. She's getting absolutely roughhoused here. I have this 290 level. I don't like how this is like. So I just draw this line straight across horizontally. It's about where we've like bounced before. It's the same kind of area here. It's held up multiple times. It's an interesting spot. It's way downside. Huge gap. But when I look at this intraday, and I'm just looking at this as here's my pre-market lows and my opening range low. Here's last week's low, this 293. Let's just call it right there. 293.26. If at whatever point, like Tesla actually closes over 293.21, then it'll probably actually get a little bit more interesting. I have to wait for that. I might want to be a little bit more cautious and say over 294s. This is so deep in the red, it's kind of crazy. But the only reason I'm even like thinking about this right now is because of this early liquidity grab. So like if I was a bear, I would think, okay, this gets flushed, and here at this pre-market low, that's where it should have completely gone down. But the fact that that didn't happen and it just gets here, it doesn't continue higher, which is fine. But up here, they buy it again. I'm like, okay, why are you buying it again? And it's kind of stuck going sideways at the moment. So for that reason, I do think I'd rather wait to see if there's a little bit more interest up here to start looking for a little bit more downs, like a little bit more interest. But these bears are not able to push it lower just yet. And for whatever reason, there's definitely some holdouts. So this becomes interesting. And if that happens, what I'd be looking at is from here to here, this gap. This 301 is what we would call a half gap. For sure, no question, to me, over 295, definitively, you get to this level. That's trade one. Extension on trade one definitively goes to 305. If at any point you're over this 304 level, you are going to, like without question, fill this entire gap up to 312. So like here, this 295, a break over this 295 initiates, I don't know, what is that? It's only a $6 trade, but that $6 trade could have legs. $15 to fill the gap, heavy gap. And if you get sucked into momentum like that, the possibility of actually getting through these SMAs becomes pretty important, like convincing, because this kind of move from these lows off this support level, if it happens, it's a watch. It's a heavy watch. It's not happening, but the setup of some situation of that caliber happening, that's slingshot mode engaged. Possibly. Because you have a lot of fair values that are still being created. With earnings coming, I mean, I don't know. She ain't happening. I have to have a trigger, and it's way too like bad of a chart to front run. But that's what it would have to look like. Downside, I guess I could do downside. Downside would be to 272. So downside 272 would have to look like this. easily. So downside triggers below 269. I mean, equally good trade. Below 270, 269. I'm sorry, below 289. Has to look like this. So in this box, it's a no touch. No touch. Here, no trade zone. But outside that box, I have two potential trades, like so. This could be like 24-hour trades, maybe, something like that. All right, cool. I'm gonna scroll up and I'll take some requests here. Everybody know what BB stands for? BB is like abbreviated baby. I didn't know that was not it was not normal. NBIS. Not ready. You're at the 200 week. This could be a short. So the short, no. July 23rd. It depends. I don't know that you're going to need a couple days. These are tough. So 44, whatever this is. $46.88. So I think you have to wait for $46.88. I don't think this is worth. So this is the box that this lives in right now. Trade location matter. Either I trade on the edge, like trade the edges, if you will. So I would wait till this is like either, like I would wait a little bit, meaning like I would wait to see this wicks down, maybe just slightly outside, and then comes back in. And then I might hit it like that. But that is $46.88. But if it does something like this, I'll know very quickly that that is going to be a short. So because of that, this gives me a quick, clean risk reward if I want to be long, but I'll know it's immediately a short as well. Is there? It's a funky trade location. You ought to give this one another day or two. Hoping for a 70-75 pullback on hoodie. I think it would be 87s. But I don't see it just yet. So this is just breathing right now. You can hope hopium is cool. I don't have a trigger for anything right now. I hope for a lot of things. But right now, this is just completely sideways. So this is the box 89s. This 50%. So of this box, it would be 70 to 75. So if CJ wants a 70-75 pullback on hoodie, that is just like sell it all. Like that's straight up short. That's more than aggressive. Yeah, that's sell the whole market and run type pullback. That's not a pullback. I mean, I guess it is pullback, but the trigger you would have, so for that to happen, you have to first lose 87. without losing 87s, like it's not going to be in play yet. That's this red box. You got to lose that first. Otherwise, you're kind of still out there. This white candle here, like this candle, once you're there, and even then, it's like that candle. Here, I'll take this down for you. I'll take these extensions down for just a minute. So this is your quarterly high. Once you get to that candle, then okay, cool. You go to the bottom of this candle. So from here, it's 89.70. Cool, you go here 85. And then it's here 81. You're talking about here 75 to, I don't know where 70 comes from. 70 is not going to be a thing. It's not going to be 70. Seventy is not really it's like this whole little range to come back all the way in this. Structure, would it be entirely broken? Entire structure would be broken at that point. So, no. It would just be it'd be funky. That'd be funky. At that point, it would be like 60s. Be 67. Because you would be losing the 80 would be a 20-day retest. 80 would be this. And then you'd probably go sideways. And if you lost the 20, then it would be 60. And you'd probably have something like this. Honestly, it would look a little something like that. But so in that trajectory, if you got your 75, this is what I'm saying. Like you probably wouldn't want that 75 because you would end up locking a lower high. You would get your 75, but you would lock a lower high at that point, and it would just go lower on you. And eventually back up, but it would go lower in the trend count. 185 on cool. Should we average? No. So average should. So first of all, there's no we, right? Am I going to average down? You got to do you. I have 185 calls. I can have a higher low anywhere. I'm okay here. Remember, so Google has earnings on the 29th. Right now, I have a 2-1-2 down on the trend count. That 2 down is going to take me to here, possibly here. So this is kind of where I'd like to see it stop. Kind of. Does it have to stop here? No. I have a little bit of a volume shelf. Right in here. And that is kind of like that key pivot. Yet again, this is that willow gap. So it likes to be here. I like to have this retesting from the highs. The issue right now that I have is that this is kind of a lower high, which makes this yellow. Lower high. Green is higher low here. So anything here, I'm still okay. And as long as this holds its support in that little box, I am okay. Does it have to hold its support in here? No. But I don't want to see it go much lower. It's going to be a tomorrow's show. Tomorrow I want to see this. I don't want to see new lows tomorrow. Sideways. And then that's a Wednesday. Tuesday, Wednesday. So I guess it's Miss Cleo's plan. That's kind of what I would need to see. I would like to see. I can see that. Doon, doon, doon. Easy. Easily look like that. 2 in, 2 out. CAVA. Little rest day, inside day. No problemo. Tomorrow can be a downside day too. It's just going to be based on today's low. So whatever today's low is and today's high. So whatever happens tomorrow on CAVA is interesting. You're not out of the weeds on CAVA by any means. You have a huge fair value to like on this guy. I like CAVA. But you're not quite in there. That's 98. So that's where I'd like to see it. But what is that? 86.45. So it can rest. Even if it comes down a little bit. Look, this is a big range. One step at a time. What is this? August 19th. I think it's still bouncy, like people are still watching it. So it's super early. I don't want to have a lot of cash in this. I like the setup. It's come actually a long ways in a short period of time, so I don't mind watching it rest for a little while. MRVL, dude, this thing has gotten absolutely shellacked. This is as deep. It's right back into the area. I didn't really want to see it. This one has lost a lot of juju, a lot of momentum. It's a Microsoft thing, so it's losing Microsoft. I don't know if it's real or not. So this is the first day that it's deep into the supply. Again, I'm not doing any kind of decision making today, really like at all. It's a low volume day, but I think that people are gonna kind of move some numbers around on their portfolios. This is 71.58. I'll wait and see. I think 71.58. We could see a lot of this very quickly. I just don't think that this is a day that you want to make huge decisions at all. Just in general, you'd easily see that kind of setup in the next couple of days, especially on 71.50 level for MRVL. It's not a semi-type day in general. DELL. DELL looks good. Looked good this morning. I want DELL. I think you're on it. Does it have to go? No. But it is called to me that it's going to make an effort, A for effort. I like the monthly Julys. So low day was like 124s here. I would rather see it over that pre-market level 125.22. Oh yeah, there you go. It's just starting to blip right now. Prior week high is like, oh yeah, looking right nice. This thing just barely started. So 127.11. 127.11 is good. I think it's 128.56. So you have a couple areas. 128.68. So 128.68, you have a couple little wicks up here. This can get wild. DELL, I think you have to kind of like size for 0 because this is one that's going to be really crazy. So volatility, in fact, is pretty low on DELL, like very low. And you might bleed out waiting for this. So why something like DELL is going to be super crucial to size appropriately. Yes, there is a massive volume shelf on DELL, and I mean massive from this earnings beat. It's just like unthinkable, like the volume shelf here that's sitting, waiting. So does it have to get up there? No. You have a blip down here, 131, but is it available? Yes. Is it already on its way? Yes. You have initially, this was a 31-day high and tight at the 20. From this consolidation range here, oops, wrong tool. Here to here, just measuring this, your extension should get you about where you are, meaning from here to here. Oops. Doubling that get you roughly to where we are, roughly to about 127.5. So if that extends, then yeah, that 138 is right into that area. But yeah, this, if you're in this, then yeah, you're essentially in this zone. So at 6th percentile, dude, we're getting headlines left and right. We got to be getting headlines left and right. My tick is going crazy. Up, down, up, down, up, down. This is such a Trump market right now. Tariffs on, tariffs off, I don't even know. Look at this. Tick, up, down, whoosh, whoosh. I don't know what this headline shenanigans is happening. So yeah, I think it's about 127 and change, possibly 128s. But this is going to try. It's trying. So I think it's there. And if you put a stop on like a DELL. If you put a stop on DELL, it's probably going to hit, and then it'll go the very following day. Is kind of how this guy is setting up right now, because while volatility is cheap right now, it's getting cheaper, so it's gonna kind of crush. Hymns Rigetti. This is fine. I just don't know. It's a gamble. I don't have real technical confirmation. 46 to 50, day trade. Gamble. It's like super low value targets, super low value gamble. These like quantum names actually looking squeezier and squeezier. This one looks good. Yeah, these look good, better. I don't know how much is left. 14 here. That's squeezy. You're also right there, though. You got to get over that fair value of 14 and a quarter. If you can get over 1430 and then ultimately 1470, yeah, it can have legs for sure to like 19, but it's got to get there. So basically call it 1450s, 1460, over 1460, 70, 1470. She goes. 1470, poof, gone to 19. What's at that? Then you fill this. Poof. Gone. AMD SMCI. So AMD, huge break last week. Let's take a look at this one. Not over this trigger level of 140. That had to happen. Didn't happen, right? So no trigger here. 140. Did not. Not. Also not extending below, holding this 130. Still no trade. Nothing to do here. Sit on your hands until you get a trigger. Also no trade. Sit on your hands. APP. Closer. $20 days now. No trade though. It's building. See this 360 level has gotten smacked a bunch of times. It's going to have to be over that. I don't want to play. I don't want to play until it's there. It's got to be over 360. Wait. Google, call me. Why aren't you in the server, dude? Get back. Come back. I like to Google. I think it can sit here. I think it can still come back a little bit more. I think the large caps had a little bit of a breather, and I think they can breathe this week a little bit. But as long as it's locking a higher low, that's all I really care about. This last one was a little bit of a lower high, so it could go into some consolidation, which would honestly kind of suck for right now. But I cannot see this below 173. That cannot go down. If it's below 173, that's going to really suck. Walter, SOFI is just on a mission. SOFI and the fintechs right now. SOFI and the fintechs is going to 20. Fintechs as an Upstart. Fintechs as an AFRM. There you're going. Netflix. Netflix. Anybody watch Squid Games 3? Because, like, I don't know, man. So this has to be over 1303. Call me when you're over 1303. Until then, don't talk to me. Or below 1270. Over 1303 or below 1270. Until then, don't talk to me. That's where I am on Netflix. HD. HD I don't mind, but the home builders we're setting up in general, Oh. It's getting to a spot where like I feel like I might need to grab it again. Actually, I already grabbed this, and I have runners. I'm not waiting that long. 364. 364 and a half. That was that breakout level. 364 and a half, watch. If I get this. Or if you're over 368 and 3/4. Otherwise, this could be ugly. This is Monday, so this is all setting up. Palantir. Nope. Target acquired. So prior day high 135.60. Target is 139s. Done for the day. If you want continuation, you got to get over 139.25. That has to look like this. Otherwise, you are done for the day because you could get shellacked. You're not getting shellacked right now. Average daily range 140.84. But this one did have that big breakdown, and we'll see. So what you have to do is this is that. So this is that exhaustion day, kill candle. The halfway point is 138 is exactly where it is. So if you can get over last week's high, which is 138.90, that's that level I was mentioning right here. If you can get over that, cool, then you go to 140.63. But that's all that's left in this trade. And that's a hard stop. Done. Like that's what's left in this trade. That's a daily range break. If and only if you're over that, which might not be till tomorrow, then cool. We're talking about 148, 145s. But I don't think it can do that. And I don't know. I wouldn't. Maybe it can, but that might be for the next session. But one step at a time. This is a big move so far in Palantir. Big volume shelf here. I would assume that it stops. And if it stops, a pullback would be essentially a bullish pullback would be half of this move to 135.60 for now. I did NBIS. Did DELL. Ethereum. Chilling. Nothing to do here. This is just complete sideways action. At least it didn't break down yet. MCD was looking good this morning, and then it was just like very lackluster. I needed to see it hold over 295s. Didn't break down, but didn't hold. ASML. ASML is one where I was kind of upset that I missed, but let me down here, down there. I think it was ASML. Did we miss it? This is a part of the semi catch-up trade. It's like maybe we didn't miss it, but like earnings are, I can't. So ASML is going to be one of the first semis to go July 16th. So this is just off. I mean, unless you want to trade weeklies. It has to be this week options only. So this could be available for this week options, like weekly trades, because I am not touching this at all for earnings. You got the wrong guy for that. But pre-earnings pop, 8:15. It's just that it's Monday, so these are going to be kind of expensive. Like, I don't hate these. And I'm looking at the 820s right now. Your trigger is over 790. What is that, 788? 793.59 is your pre-market high. Today's pre-market high. Here, 789. Here. Prior day low. You're at the 20. You have a gap, 794. You have a lot of stuff to trade off of here. It's very tight consolidation. I think this is a decent candidate for a weekly trade. I don't hate this, especially with earnings next week. But this is a guess at this point. Straight up. There's no trigger. And it's Monday. These contracts are freaking expensive. So I would pass on this for the moment until I have a clean trigger. Because you're gonna get like decayed away. Premature allocation right now. Something's coming though. This is heavy watch. Heavy watch for a weekly. Heavy watch. I like it, dude. Unity. Unity's been squeezy. Unity. I saw a lot of $30 calls on this guy. Yeah, this chain's lighting up like a Christmas tree. Slap it. Slap it. Small account friendly. Slap it. Slap it. Is going. She gone. No, that's a good one. You got earnings coming. I don't think it actually, but so this is squeeze central. This is just people just taking the shot. This is just money being spread around. 5,000 on July 18th. Yeah. Money being spread around. This is a good one. Corey is tight. A lot of volume here. So this 166 and change must be over 166.63, not before. Like not a penny before that. Not ready. Once it's over that, then sure. Otherwise, you're no, not yet. Coinbase. What time is it? I'm gonna have to get jet soon. Coinbase held, but I mean, this is like morning looking good. You're kind of like at the support level. You'd want to see this weekly, like daily close over 360. Otherwise, it's still I think they have earnings coming. I don't know. I don't know. This one's made a big move. It's possible, but a huge move. It might take a little bit more rest here. I'm hesitant to keep pressing this bet. I think I'm good. Because, I mean, look. This thing that you're 349, like, yeah, it's cool that it's bouncing off of it, but it's 360s. Yeah, it's got to get through 370s. Otherwise, it's still going to, like, your trade range is like here to here for a while until it's over that. And then you could talk about the higher one. CRM, dude, you're in the server. Also in the server. All right, I'm getting exhausted. I need to Clark. This is so focus for me is software sector. Across the board, software sector looks primed. Some of these are like way deep, like under the radar, kind of like massive consolidations. We saw a lot of catch-up trades in the semi-sector. This one is kind of like lottobill.com. Or what was the one? Like, we're finding like a lot of crazy, unusual options. People hitting like an obscene amount of September calls, I guess, on this guy. Let me see where they are. I just assumed. I just like instant went. That's open interest. So September 55s. They're like 270 right now. This is a quarterly level. If it gets over 49, this thing had been getting absolutely smashed. There was one like this. There was DocuSign that I saw some stupid call flow on before. It's just at 70. Like, there are a lot of these. Twilio was something too. So there's a lot of these kind of setups, like high, tight with earnings, and they all have the same setup of this massive fair value just overhead. I mean, massive, just overhead, that they're all trying to test. DELL has this, Twilio has this, Datadog has this, Snowflake right here and now has this, and then some. Who, by the way, is not, I don't know that we have to, not really Bucky anymore. Bucky's got legs, possibly got legs. Maybe the Winter Soldier's back, maybe. CRM is in the process of like what we would call like a failed breakdown, possibly. Looks good in the morning, but you know, this is still kind of setting up. Really needs to get over that 275 with strength. Is not doing it. Not doing it yet. This is like Apple squeeze. This is just like Apple squeeze. What else was there? It's just a lot. XYZ. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess XYZ is. I just have a lot of scar tissue on Square. It's got the 200-day to get through, but yeah, high and tight. It's right there. He's got this little blip. Let's see if there's anything here. I mean, you know, 41,000 calls to 7,500 puts. I don't see anything crazy, highly unusual. I see the shots on goal. 200-day simple moving average. That's the thing. A lot of this stuff, look, if this isn't just like glaringly obvious, all the setups, these are all software, right? They're all like high, tight, have already started to break out. So yeah, you're a little late on some of the stuff. And they're all in like this phase 2. And in the phase 2, this is phase 1. Actually, sorry. Phase 1 was up here. Now you're kind of chopping. So can we get a rest? Maybe even a pullback to initiate this next phase 2, possibly even a phase 3 into this massive fair value? Yeah, for sure. And so, sorry. And like, can that happen? It can. Does it have to happen? No. Can it take a week of like setting up? I think that's kind of maybe where we are. And I don't really want to make any rash decisions, because if in that week we're just chopping like this, dude, that's okay. That's okay with me. And so I don't want to be adding at the highs here if I'm just going to get my head bashed in, even if we hit this 200-day and come right back down. It's very likely, right? I'd rather maybe let that happen, come back down, even breach a little bit, and then take a little something, maybe even down here. That's kind of where I'm at. So today is, for me, the setup. Like, okay, let's take a look at all this stuff. I think the semi sector can chill, right? Qualcomm can chill, right? Like, I actually exited up here yesterday. It's like a day or two trade. Apple can chill. I want to move on to some software stuff. Qualcomm, I'll come back to, maybe a little bit lower, and maybe I'll take another trade, right? They want, stocks make a move, then they'll kind of retrace a little bit, then I'll come back to it. Get in, get out, surgically strike and attack, but when the time is right. This one, not quite ready yet. MRVL, not quite ready yet. Some of the other stuff that's out there, we just looked at, Upstart's in an active move. That's an active move, guys. This is exactly what we just talked about. Here you are, right? This was high tight consolidation, right? 30 days. Active mover. What's this? This is the setup. That's exactly what I just highlighted. They're everywhere. It's just what stock is going to happen. What stock is going to fire off at what point in time? Who does this when? What's this? Same setup, right? Pretty positive that this is the same exact setup that we were just talking about. So I don't really want to get distracted with too many different things when the same setup is happening across the entire market. It's just who's going off when. They're all probably going to happen. It's just who's happening at what point in time. Look, they're all likely to happen. Who's happening when? This is happening. That's happening. SOFI, probably SOFI happened. I don't know if this can continue to happen, but the Upstart one and the Affirm one are active. There's probably others. I'd have to go on the list. I don't know what the fuck is up with Wolf. I know. Rocket Lab. Shit, me. Nobody asked me about Rocket Lab today. Nobody asked me about Circle today. I don't know. At least I got some Unity. I didn't get a Baidu request. Nobody asked me about. Dude. Nobody asked me Roblox. Where's Uber? Do you guys know what this is? GEV. I know Dollar Tree. That thing's crazy. Some casinos are going off. Gold is a little bit of reclaim. ASTS, I don't know. Asana. I actually like this as a squeeze play. This one's like low cap, probably way cheaper than it needs to be. This thing will probably fly like crazy. I don't know if anybody trades this other than some of our people. This one never gets a whole lot of love. But this will probably rip face. Yeah, there's like no volume here. Literally. Oh, There's some August. Very few. That's way too cheap. Rubric. Probably time. Close, not quite, but towards the lows. Oh my goodness. Is the Walmart going? Yikes. But yeah, I have massive lists, so I got some work to do. I like the snowflake. I like a lot of these. But I got to get back to work. It has been fun. SOFI next. SOFI is like towards the end. NVDA. I have very little interest in NVDA. Gotta be real with you. Maybe lemonade. Bull turning bear? No. Too early. Qualcomm. Troy, are you not in the server? They probably would have told you. I'm like way behind. BX is probably a beautiful. Is that Blackstone? Oh, yeah. I love Blackstone a long time. Oh, is it a beautiful server? Was. It's conglomerate. It's a tougher one, actually. It's a weekly test. You don't want it any lower. Tough spot, actually. Tough spot. I like Blackstone a lot. But from an equity perspective. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff. Tessie is moving. Lyft is lifting probably. I don't know. All right, guys. There's a lot to do. And yeah, a lot. I like trade locations important. I don't think we're done, but I think the market can be pretty whipsaw at times. Sizing most important. But all right, guys, I got to call it. I'm going to take a break. I'll see you out there in the server if you're out there. So appreciate y'all. Adios, and on to the next one. Later. Bye.